Welcome to the Heavy Debriefings podcast.
We are Josh Runquist and the Metal Faerie,
A fun-loving metal couple that brings you the best in new music.
What did you just make me listen to? As well as movies.
3 hours later, nothing of value was added. TV.
It's going good, so why not cancel it? Video games.
Here's an idea. Remake the game, but make it worse. Wrestling.
Why are we still watching this week after week? And all things entertainment.
I knew it. I knew she was behind Black Guy Gates. And a little insights into our personal lives. You don't mind that I trauma dump on you, do you?
Emotional support girlfriend, party one. He's a handsome fella.
I know, you keep telling me. We're made for each other, because no one else would have us. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Heavy Debriefings podcast, episode 26. And as you may have heard in the beginning, we kind of vamp things up a little bit here. But of course, I'm not the only one here. I am here along with...
the Metal Faerie.
And it's great to see you. You've only been home like less than an hour right now.
I know.
And, over the last couple days, before you left on your excursion,
Yes.
We decided to do a little intro and outro for the show.
We did. So in the intro, you might have heard the fancy new music we found, and we got another one coming up at the outro, so stay tuned for that. But the intro, just to give a little recognition, shall we say, it is the grand finale, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, All That Remains by ZackParrish featuring Jeff Ball. And on the outro, you're going to be hearing Bloody Deer's hard rock version A from Akimao, Dracula X Nocturne, In the Moonlight, Bloody Mayhem by Bonkers.
Yes, and should mention that is, of course, Mario in the first one, and Castlevania, which will be at the end.
Yes,
so,
two of our favorites, so.
Yes, and of course, those are through ocremix.org, so everything's nice and legal here. So.
Exactly. Lots of great stuff over there, so go check out some stuff.
Yeah, we selected on these two because it felt like it kind of fit like the good momentum of stuff. I mean, obviously with the violin and the intro, I know how much you enjoy that, and then some Castlevania stuff at the end since we both thoroughly enjoy that.
Exactly.
So, how are you doing from your excursion?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in here. Yeah.
I'm kind of doing better as well too.
Yeah.
This past week has not been awful.
That's
for
good.
me, which is
that's a huge improvement.
That is a huge improvement from the impending hell that I keep going through every single week.
Yes.
Now, I guess one thing that's really contributed to that is for a good couple months I stopped really trying to take care of myself, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, after the ball dropped, I decided to see how much I weighed.
Yeah.
And I thought that, oh great, I'm probably over 300 again. But no, I was actually around, I'll say now, I'm at 281 right now.
A huge improvement.
And anyone who's not familiar, 2 years ago around this same date, I was 360 pounds.
Yes.
So I've been getting sick less, my allergies haven't been hitting me as hard, I don't wake up with a whole bunch of crap in my throat.
Yeah.
I've been drinking a lot of water, I try to chew gum when I feel like I want to eat, but I know better. I hardly snack anymore. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things that's been helping me a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to fit into my clothes again.
Yeah.
I got some amazing clothes over Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
From Santa and other places. And they look good on me.
Yeah.
And if I was at 360, they wouldn't have.
Right.
So I'm glad I'm getting into better stuff, and my goal is to eventually fit into one of the Ed Guy shirts that got.
Yes. Me
because
too.
That's an XL. I'm not sure how far away I am from that fitting.
Yeah.
And then also I have a Nevermore shirt from the Godless Endeavor album, and I'd like to fit into that again.
Yes.
Back in one of my old bands, I used that for a promo shot where I was wearing my Nevermore shirt, and I'd like to return to that.
Yes, and I have a not Moonspell hoodie that I am aiming for myself. But you have come a long way, sweetie, and I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you. And you've made a lot of good changes in your life too, as well.
I have made a few.
You have one thing that I'll never be able to do, and you've been able to cut off caffeine.
Yes, about a year and a half almost now.
Yeah, which I can't do.
Yeah.
I'm not that strong-willed.
I tried many times in the past and didn't make it, but I've made it this time. I've only had caffeine once over the past year, and it really did nothing for me, so I don't see the point disappointed.
Oh, that is good to know. And you know what else is good to know? What has been going on the past week in the news?
Well, okay, first up, ex-Mr. Bungle, I believe he was a saxophonist and a couple other instruments as well. Theo Languel, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but he has been arrested in connection of the homicide of his girlfriend.
He actually did a lot. He played different saxophones, clarinets, keyboards, and stuff.
Yeah.
He was a part of the first two Mr. Bungle albums.
Yeah, I believe he was with the band for about 10 years.
Yes. Of course, those being the self-titled and Disco Volante. Yeah, this is... He really bungled things up in this one.
He did. I don't think many details have actually been released yet as far as like what happened or how he's involved or anything.
Well, but I mean, there's been some things from the past, like his ex-wife turned girlfriend,
right? Yeah,
assaulted her on multiple occasions, and she got a restraining order.
Yeah.
So that's already not great.
Yeah, bad track record.
Yes, but the fact that he's been charged with it is not usually the best sign.
No.
But obviously, innocent until proven guilty, although, of course, the court of public opinion is guilty until proven innocent.
Exactly.
But, just there might be something to it.
Yeah. Curious to see what comes out with that, but...
Now, from what you've heard of Mr. Bungle, what's your opinion on Mr. Bungle?
Not my cup of tea.
Even though you enjoy Faith No More.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a little too out there for me.
Too wacky.
A little too wacky doodle.
I understand. But, that was a shocking turn of events.
That was, and there have been some more shocking turns of events as well.
Ooh,
so,
like what?
Mr. Don Dokken, he had some tug-collery remarks in an interview recently.
Oh, please, do go on.
So I don't remember who the interview was through, my apologies, but... He was talking about kind of the state of the world and how everything's kind of crazy. And he was talking about like drugs are out of control and guns are out of control, which I agreed with some of the things he said there. But then he started talking about an incident that I wasn't even aware of. But apparently the Spanish soccer team recently won. I forget what the big like soccer thing is. World Cup. Yes, they won the World Cup. And some head guy with the team apparently kissed one of the players, who was a woman, on the lips. And after the fact, she has come out saying that kiss was not welcome, and it is like being investigated now, and it's gone to the side of the law, and people are looking into it and stuff like that. And Don Dokken had, I don't know the exact phrasing and words and stuff, but essentially talked about how things have changed so much, and back in the day when he was having girls backstage in the 80s, like he could say whatever he wanted to them, and that's just not the case anymore. And like he tells his bandmates and stuff, don't say anything or you're gonna get sued, blah blah blah. And brought up like Me Too movement and stuff, and it hug collar.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you shouldn't really like point out like, hey, look at the bazongas on that thing. It's like, you shouldn't have done that in the 80s. You shouldn't do that now.
Yeah.
No matter how popular you are and how much above the law or common decency that you think you are.
Yeah.
Unless someone's already attracted to you, doing something like that isn't really gonna work the way that you want it to.
Yeah.
And even then, don't do it.
Yeah.
What about you, as Dokken is what you've mentioned before is your favorite 80s band?
Yeah, probably they are.
How do you feel about Donald and his...
I mean,
Rockin' Donnie Dokken.
Rockin' Donnie Dokken. Has the world changed? Absolutely. But I guess I feel like people just, maybe they never have, but people have even lost it even more, the ability to weigh the room. Like, there should be more common sense around what is okay and what isn't. Like, just planting a kiss on somebody, grabbing them, whatever, saying really obscene things isn't okay. I don't care who it is. I don't care what they're dressed like. It's just not okay.
What about in terms of the World Cup, though? Because I remember you mentioned to me that's kind of like a European thing.
Well, that's one of the things that Don brought up, is that, in some countries in Europe, it's customary to like just automatically kiss people on both cheeks when you meet them, or one cheek on some countries. I don't know what the custom is in Spain, I guess. So I don't know if that's like normal or not. But I'm pretty sure kissing them on the lips isn't, though. But
that just reminds me of King of the Hill with Coach Sowers and.
Oh yeah.
Your boys get me to state, and I guarantee I'm gonna kiss each and every one of you right on the mouth.
Oh dear. Pretty much.
And of course they were all like, most of them were like underage.
Yeah. But yeah.
Giving them horse crank.
I love Dokken's music, but that was a little tug-collery. I've never heard him speak out on things before, so I feel like...
There could be more.
I just feel like lately he's been like very outspoken, and on the flip side, George Lynch as well. There's been it's like going back and forth between those two, so...
And that's so weird that they couldn't get along enough for George to be on the new Dokken album.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, they seem to have a lot of the same beliefs.
So I in a way, I kind of feel like he's just trying to get like any kind of publicity.
Yeah.
But this isn't the way, dude. This isn't the way.
Hey, it worked for Vanilla Ice. I mean, look at what he was able to do during New Year's Eve. Vanilla Ice headlined the Donald Trump rally on New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago.
Oh dear.
So how do you feel about that? The singer of the Ninja Rap.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Yeah.
No, I can't support that.
And also the new metal version of Ice Ice Baby, Too Cold.
Yes, never forget.
Never forget. What else we got in the news?
Yeah, Britney Spears has said that she is not going to be returning to music at any point.
I completely understand.
I do too.
I fully back it.
Yeah.
And I'm of the phase of something that a lot of people heard of my age 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Leave Britney alone.
Right?
Just leave her alone.
Right.
Like, she's just trying to live her life. And I think some of it is obviously done for the camera.
Yeah.
The knives, obviously.
Yeah.
The almost naked shots that she's doing. And of course, someone like me, I'm not going to go forward with what I was about to say, but, but I think she's just out there just, trying to enjoy life after spending decades upon decades not enjoying life. So just let her do her thing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like she's like, obviously she's somebody who grew up in the spotlight. I'm assuming has dealt with a number of mental health issues along the way as well. I mean, how can you not when you're in the situations that she's been in throughout the years? And, just let her live. Let her live, know?
Yeah, let her be with her random guys. Let her do all of her dance videos on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. Let her just go out into the sunset and enjoy her social media.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Exactly.
Who's it hurting?
Right? Up next, in similar news, Rage Against the Machine is no longer going to put out music either.
Well, they weren't going to put out new music, I don't think. But what happened was before the pandemic and kind of during the pandemic, Rage Against the Machine was going to be going on a full-blown reunion tour, and it all fell apart. And then they got nominated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Tom Morello was the only one that showed up. That should have been the warning sign right there. But their drummer Brad Wilk did an interview where he said that the band is no longer going to be going forward with any shows. So they canceled all the reunion dates that they had going on, and the ones that weren't even rescheduled, and everyone's just going to be going and doing their own stuff again. Tom Morello occasionally plays with Bruce Springsteen, which is an odd combination.
That is an odd combination.
And Brad Wilk, he was playing for Sabbath at the end of their shows. So the other two, I have no idea, but I don't like Rage Against the Machine, and I never have.
Me either.
It's one of those bands, basically anything of the rap metal, new metal sound.
Yeah.
My brother was a gigantic fan of it and just played it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
And I got so sick of it all the time. It was so strange too, because it was like Rage Against the Machine and Korn and Limp Bizkit, Smash Mouth, which doesn't make a lot of sense, Mighty Mighty Boss Stones.
Oh.
And I vividly remember like 10, 15 years ago, he literally said that music doesn't matter to him. I'll listen to anything she wants to get laid.
Wow.
So you can see how polar opposite we are.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the Machine winning in the Rage Against the Machine? The Machine won.
I mean, I have never enjoyed them at all. I've never listened. I know the one song.
Well, they have many songs, so it's like, oh, that's them.
Oh, maybe I'd know more if I heard more, but I
could show you, but I don't want to put you through that.
Please don't.
I'm not gonna.
So it really means nothing to me.
Oh, all right then.
And finally in the news, Corey Taylor has canceled his tour due to mental health and family reasons.
Yes, he wanted to spend more time with his kids, and he's been going through a lot of emotional problems right now, some of it business-wise, some of it just life.
Yeah.
And the outcry from people on social media is absolutely insane. Basically, I'll just refer to it as, wah, my mental health, wah. Like, and people are citing things like, Dave Grohl broke his leg and he did the rest of the tour sitting on a throne and playing guitar. Or, it's like, people will never take mental health seriously.
No.
Except when someone they care about commits suicide.
Yeah.
Then they'll care for a day.
We should do something about
up to
this.
a week. And then they'll completely forget about it.
Yeah.
And it just keeps happening.
Oh, yeah.
And if someone needs to take a break for mental health reasons, they should.
Yes.
Thankfully, in Minnesota, that is now a thing. On the 1st of January, that became a thing where you can, if you work X amount of days, you can take X amount of time off.
Yeah.
And it can be for mental health reasoning. It doesn't just have to be physical reasons.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
Oh, for sure.
Of course, there's companies that did allow that before, but now it's like registered by the state, like it's mandatory.
Yeah.
How about you? How do you feel about this?
I mean, I haven't seen any of the backlash myself. I haven't really been on social media lately, but
you get an idea, though.
But I've seen this with other situations and other people and stuff, and it's just disgusting. Like, a broken leg is not the same as dealing with depression or anxiety or suicidal thoughts or any other mental illness. Like,
or just wanting to be there for your kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That too. Like, not all situations are relatable or equatable or anything that some people can imagine. So just...
It's not a peeing contest.
It's not. And don't assume that you know what's going on with somebody even based on, like, an article written on them. Like, you don't know unless you're in their shoes. So quit acting like you do.
That said, have you ever checked out Corey Taylor's solo music?
I don't think I have, no.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
I know he has 2 albums. Never heard them.
Yeah.
Coming up now is my new favorite segment of the show since we got rid of 3 random songs and the musical roulette that went into that. It is the segment known as Accountability 101.
Yes.
Class is in session here. Last week, we briefly went over Polka Dot Cadaver / Dog Fashion Disco.
We did.
That was not premeditated. That just kind of happened.
It did.
And I thought it was a nice little precursor to lead into the real first proper segment of this.
Yes.
And I wanted you to check out a band that I know I've shown you in the past.
Yeah.
But as usual, unless it's on the top of your mind, you tend to forget. But I knew it's a band that you would enjoy, known as Times of Grace.
Yes.
Of course, Times of Grace is Jesse Leach and Adam D, both now of Killswitch Engage, but it's basically started off with Adam D and Jesse wanting to do something outside of Killswitch when Jesse wasn't in the band.
Yeah.
And that led to the first album, Hymns of the Broken Man.
Yeah.
And then about 10 years later, after they were both in the band, the sophomore album came out and really changed things dramatically, where the Hymn of the Broken Man is much more in the vein of kind of like a Killswitch Light kind of thing. And Songs of Loss and Separation is a lot more varied. Very varied. Now, on first impression, just overall, what did you think of Times of Grace?
I really enjoyed them. Kind of like you said, the first album is very similar to Killswitch, just slightly different, but I like Killswitch. The second album, I would say, is definitely a little bit more melodic, a little bit more kind of depressing. I mean, not that Killswitch doesn't have depressing music too, but like, just kind of a more somber mood to it, I would say. But I really like both albums.
Now, what stood out in the band for you?
I mean, so for the longest time, I didn't like Killswitch either because I thought they were probably bro-y.
No, you wouldn't give them a chance because you thought that they would be bro-y.
Yes. I did not give them a chance.
You can't say you didn't like them if you never gave them a chance.
Yes, that is correct. I did not give them the time of day to know if I liked them or not. I just figured because the type of music they are, they're probably bro-y. Put on your hat sideways, do your little dance.
Make a little love, get down tonight.
Woo! But no, so it took me a while till I gave them a chance, but once I finally did, I really enjoyed them. And like Killswitch, this is like, I feel like Times of Grace has that like really good mix of a lot of melodic moments, a lot of like amazing clean vocals. He's an amazing singer.
They're both great singers.
Oh,
they both sing on the album.
Yeah. But kind of mixed in with that more hard sound sound as well, but not in like a super bro-y way. I mean, it just fits in nicely with everything else. And the lyrics are really amazing as well. That's one thing that stands out for me, because a lot of the bro-y music, it sounds bro-y too. You know, the lyrics are bro-y and stuff, but here it's actual like human emotional stuff.
And that's what I appreciate so much about Jesse Leach. Like,
Yeah.
you know, obviously off of your favorite Killswitch album,
Yes.
which we might be getting to later when I
Maybe.
talk about the rest of the segments going forward.
Okay.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, he's attempted suicide. He's had suicidal thoughts. He's gone through a really rough life.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, like off of Atonement, obviously the song I Am Broken Too. I remember when the video came out, you came home from work.
Yes.
I sat you down immediately,
Yes.
made you watch, and we had a good old cry together. Because it was so relatable. And I think that was
true.
the moment you finally gave Killswitch a chance.
I'm like, okay, they're not so bad.
Yeah. Oh, come on, you were crying during that. Don't
I
act
know. Oh, I know.
I was too. And then, you know, you started to give them more of a chance. Obviously, again, Atonement is the one Killswitch album that you've given a chance so far. Even though I've played others.
Yes.
But
I haven't sat down with them myself necessarily.
yes, and that could change.
Yes.
That could change. So, thinking on the first album in particular, is there like any particular moments or anything on there? Any particular songs, or you know, obviously from like the heavier side of things, was there anything that stuck out to you?
No, I didn't really.
So it's just kind of like an overall vibe.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't know what the future of this project holds.
Yeah.
Because again, Jesse's back in the band.
Yes.
But sometime this year, Adam D and Howard Jones, formerly of Killswitch Engage, have a project together.
My man.
That could be Times of Grace. That could be something completely different.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to be going on with that.
The two singers are just interchangeable in the two bands.
Now, what do you think that combination, like if they kind of went into like a Times of Grace kind of feel, what would you think?
I would drool.
You would drool.
Yeah.
Now, the real question is,
Yes.
since you already kind of mentioned it with my man, Jesse or Howard?
So I feel like Jesse is a grower, whereas Howard is a shower. Like Howard, like right off the bat when I listened to Light the Torch, I was like, okay, yeah, Whereas Jesse, like, I'm taking more time getting to know him, but he's gonna be there with Howard pretty soon.
Yeah, so everyone says it should happen. I know in years past, Howard was against it.
Yeah.
But I want to see, like, should Killswitch have both Jesse and Howard?
They should, and I should have put it on my list for the next segment we do.
I think it should just happen.
It should.
It works for Halloween.
Right?
Iron Maiden has 3 friggin' guitarists now, even though they don't need it.
They can charge way more for tickets.
Oh god, they would be able to like headline huge festivals and tours. And just like that one show that's coming up, what was it, Brazil? I think we saw. It was like Killswitch Engage and Gamma Ray.
Yes. What a combination.
If only that could happen here.
If only. But we don't.
I can't imagine the average Killswitch fan being a Gamma Ray fan.
No.
And vice versa.
No, not
But for
the most
us,
part. It'd
be magical.
Perfection.
Now, do you have any final thoughts on Times of Grace? Like, just like, if you could recommend them, like how would you describe them? Or do you think it's worth people's time to check this out? Or anything like that? Like, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, don't be, like, distracted by the type of music they're labeled under, like Killswitch, like I was. Like, they are an amazing, emotional, melodic, beautiful music, just with some hardcore kind of kicks kicked in. But it blends so well together, and his voice is just beautiful. So.
And just remember, if Jesse is good enough to guest on a Wolfheart album, they're worth your time as well.
He's worth your time.
Now, for the future of the show.
Oh dear, here we go. Oh, there's a wheel.
There is a wheel. I came up with 24 bands that you should check out. Well, 23 plus 1 wild card.
Okay.
And we're going to be doing it this way, where you're going to click, a band's going to come up, and I'm going to recommend an album for you to check out.
Okay.
And if you like what you hear, you can check out more, and we'll be able to talk about it more.
Okay.
So I came about this, and, well, hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to shuffle this so everything changes changes. You have no idea what's going to be happening here.
Okay.
All right. Now, spin the wheel for next week's Accountability 101.
Ooh, it's like I'm on Price is Right. Big money. Big money. And we have... Ooh.
Pain of Salvation.
Okay. He's an attractive man.
He is an attractive man, and I love half of their discography. Some of it is not for me.
Yeah.
And you've heard stuff that is not for you.
Yes.
But you've also heard stuff that was for you.
Yes.
So I'm leaning between two albums, and I think I'm going to have you check out The Perfect Element.
Okay.
It is an album that has their biggest hit,
Okay.
Ashes, which I think might be kind of a gateway for you.
Yeah.
It kind of has a little bit of a vibe that you might enjoy, and you might be able to enjoy the rest of the album. We've talked about like favorite riffs and motifs before, just when we're like talking back and forth.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before that one of my favorite like musical moments is on this album.
Yeah, I
and it's
remember
shown
that.
off twice. One on piano and one on guitar.
Yeah.
And I just think that'll be a good choice for you. So
Okay.
next week, I want you to check out the Perfect Element by Pain of Salvation. Yeah, and if there's anything more from Pain of Salvation, like if you're digging this and you want to check out more, do so, and then we'll have a little more content to talk about.
Can I ask what your runner-up album was, so I can check that out second if I do check out another one?
On the Passing Light of Day.
Okay.
Which, of course, is an album that is near and dear to me because
Yes.
Daniel and I went through a very similar situation.
Yes.
And yeah, that'd be number 2.
Okay.
And again, I think there's some albums you would love and other ones I think you need to avoid.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm gonna remove this from the list now.
Okay.
And we got 23 more weeks to go on the wheel till I revamp things once again. And this has been Accountability 101. Have you checked out Times of Grace? Do you want to check them out after hearing the Metal Faerie? Do you want to check them out not knowing, like if you were a Killswitch fan and didn't even know about Times of Grace for some reason? Are you still going to avoid them or anything else? Let us know in the comments down below.
So up next is a segment that we've been talking about doing for a while now, but we are finally putting out our Dream Festival lineups.
Now, this originally came from when we asked for your questions.
Yes.
This came from Kai over at allmediareviews.blogspot.com.
Yes.
Which has turned into a YouTube channel, and I see it's constantly growing. I mean,
Yes.
he covers a lot of stuff, from like indie and alternative to progressive. Not so much on the metal side anymore, but he does cover a lot of prog and alternative kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if that's your kind of bag, yeah, allmediareviews.blogspot.com is the YouTube page.
Yes.
So go and check that out. Just
Yeah.
wanted to give you a little plug there.
Absolutely. So going into this, we established a few rules. Number one, the people have to be alive. I mean, we can't like resurrect anybody for these concerts, but it can be situations where they're not currently active or they've broken up or whatever, because it's our dream situations. So what other thoughts did you have going into this?
At least for me personally,
Yeah.
I don't think you did this, but at least I did it. If I'm going to a festival and it's my dream festival,
Yes.
I want it to be bands I've never seen before. So this is all bands I've yet to see. Maybe I'll be able to one day, but we haven't been to a show since 2019, so
while.
you know it's becoming less and less likely. But you
Yeah.
know, it's never 0%.
Yeah.
It's just like your chance of dating an adult star. It's never 0%.
Yes. So
I also put this into Prog Power rules as well.
yes. Oh yeah, that was one thing I forgot to mention.
Yes, days 1 and 2 have 5 bands. Days 3 and 4 have 6 bands.
Yep.
And if you've never been to Prog Power, basically every band gets their own headlining set.
Yes.
They get to at least play an hour.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot to mention that piece. I went by the same rules with that. I will say a majority of mine I have not seen before, but there are some where it's like special kind of sets or special situations that I added on. So, yeah. You want to start with day 1 or?
I actually have a better idea. How about we let the wheel decide who goes first?
All right. That's fair.
50-50 shot here at who
Okay.
goes first.
Sure.
See, when you do that, it spikes the audio on here and everything else becomes much quieter.
Yes.
So you shouldn't do that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it, though.
It's all right. And you know what? That's fine. Because I think my day one is pretty darn good.
All right.
I have codenamed this one Day 1 Swanky and Spooky.
All right.
Now, I'm going started from the bottom, now we're here.
Sure.
Meaning that starting with the opening band, going to the headliner.
Yes.
Is how I'm going about this. The first band will be Polka Dot Cadaver.
Okay.
You know, since we brought them up on the show last week and stuff, and
Yes.
they fit the mold of what I've been trying to go for here.
Yeah.
All the bands have something kind of spooky about them in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Next up, I have The Lion's Daughter.
Okay.
Which is like a very John Carpenter synth horror mixed in with like heavy metal, doom metal, thrash metal, almost death metal, almost black metal kind of stuff. So I think that also fits the mood. Almost kind of cheesy in a way too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Band 3 is Twin Temple.
Okay.
Which I would love to see them do their satanic doo-wop.
Yeah.
And they're not out of place on this band list.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yes.
Main support would be Dog Fashion Disco.
Okay.
I did not put anything special like them playing any like particular album or any particular lineups or anything on here, just because I would just be so gosh darn happy to just see the band in general.
Yes.
That's how I did this through all 4 days. But the headliner would be Richard Cheese, which is why it's swanky and spooky, because sometimes he does some metal songs like from Slipknot or Slayer or other bands like that. So it all kind of fits together. You know, it's like they all kind of have something going along with thematic stuff going on.
Yeah.
So that's my day 1, swanky and spooky.
I like it. I'm going to say we have similar vibes for our first day.
Really?
Mine is entitled Keeper of Your Dreams.
Interesting.
So up first, we have Anders Manga doing both solo stuff and Bloody Hammer stuff.
Well, wouldn't you just want it to be Bloody Hammers and then some solo songs in there?
Well, sure. Whichever way you want to go about it. Up next, going off of last week, we're going to have Dog Fashion and Polka Dot together doing an acoustic huge set.
Which they have done. They do have an acoustic album, which is mighty creepy.
It is. It is. Main support, we have Clemens Weigers doing both his solo stuff, which he does some amazing stuff solo, and Karak Ingrid as well.
Well, that's only 3 so far. I thought you did 5.
Dog Fashion and Polka Dot both doing.
Well, they're the same band, basically.
Well, but they have separate things, so but both
so
doing
2 sets. So.
Yeah, so both doing acoustic.
My only thing is, I think you should have separated the 2.
No.
All right, well,
so.
whatever.
But anyways, Clemens Weigers,
Okay.
who is also a very, very handsome devil.
He is.
And finally, ending the evening with Flesh God Apocalypse with a full orchestra.
That is a tall order, but I would love to see that.
Yes, right?
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
Yes.
Or acoustic. I would even see them acoustic as well.
I would love acoustic as well.
All right. Day 2, I have the code name of Prague on here. And I tried to go along the lines of all different kinds of prog bands on here. And you'll see where I'm going with this. It might even be a show you would attend.
Okay.
First, I'm starting off with the band The Anchorettes, who put out a top 10 album for me last year with It All Began With Loneliness. Next up, I would have Isan doing his solo material, which ranges from the weirdest German expressionism avant-garde music to songs that sound like Rat and everything in between. It is so strange.
Is he going to bring his pups with him?
I would love to see that.
They're so sophisticated looking.
If it's like in the fall or something like that, I would ask him to wear one of his very fashionable turtleneck sweatshirts.
And the pups have their turtlenecks?
Yes.
They are more sophisticated than I will ever be.
And it's a little too scary how much he kind of looks like Jonathan Davis.
That is true.
Thank you for pointing that out for. Next up would be the reunited Crimson Glory.
Okay.
Because, well, they have some new singles that are going to be coming out at the end of the month.
Yes.
And I'm hoping for the best for it. But I don't think they would come back together if it was going to suck.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear those old songs because Midnight is one of the most underrated singers of all time. And I just hope that they do it justice. Main support would be Nightingale.
Okay.
Edge of Sanity and Weatherscape and stuff like that. I've talked to Dan Swano in the past. Nightingale is the only band that'll ever play live ever again. Weatherscape's impossible to play live because apparently with some of the instrumentation that's involved with there, so that and the tuning, so that sucks. But Nightingale does do some Edge of Sanity songs, like they close out with Black Tears. So, you know, it's not all bad, but I just want to see Dan Swano live.
Yeah.
I just do. And the headliner would be a conglomeration of Poets of the Fall / Old Gods of Asgard.
Oh, I like it.
Where basically either band can go first,
Yeah.
but they obviously got to do some Old Gods Gods of Asgard songs and do some Poets of the Fall songs.
Or they gotta do the dance too.
Well, it'd be nice if they could bring all of Alan Wake 2's
know,
cast
right?
into there and do that, but I know that's a pretty tall order. I would just be happy to see them on screens.
That is true. That is true.
And
I like
that is
it.
day 2.
I like it. My day 2. Welcome to a Gothic romance.
Ooh.
We're gonna start out with some Entwine. Then we're gonna move on to Die For. Then we're gonna have a little For My Pain with a Thomas Alpinen returning and then playing all of Fallen plus whatever new stuff they're going to be working on. With main support, we're gonna have a little smorgasbord from Vile Hala playing some Poison Black and some Sentenced. And then finally, for the closer, we'll be having the vampire himself, Dan Swano, playing Nightingale songs.
Well, wouldn't you just want Nightingale?
Yes, again, but I was thinking then he could play a few other songs too and stuff.
Well, that's what Nightingale does, just like I just described.
I know, but I didn't know that when I wrote this.
They have one live album, and you would have been able to see that.
My apologies, I didn't look through their entire discography in preparation for this.
Well, you didn't have to. It's just one album.
What?
It was only one live album.
Well, I
You
didn't look at their live album.
Well, you didn't have to look through their whole discography.
I didn't look at their live album.
All right, I get
You are
that
being
now.
a pain.
I just like us bantering and seeing.
I know.
People think that we just fight all the
We
time.
do. We do. That's all we do.
Yes, fight and struggle.
But yes, that is my day 2.
All right. My day 3.
Did you like it?
I didn't.
Okay.
But I feel like you really didn't go in the context about like any of them.
Oh,
like I
I'm
did.
sorry.
Yeah.
I guess I could have.
You know, like that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah,
with
that's
mine.
true. That's true. I could have been a little bit better. So Entwine, I absolutely love their Entwine and To Die For and For My Pain are all from Finland. Entwine broke up in 2019. But I would love to see them get back together. They're very gothy rock, but they got some good love songs too. And same with To Die For. They're a little bit more electronica though as well. And For My Pain was a one album wonder that I never ever thought would get back together again. But we recently heard that they are working on some new material, which is the best thing in the world.
As long as it holds up.
Yeah, as long as it holds up.
I mean, there's some members, mainly Tomas is
Yes.
not coming back into the fold.
Yeah, so yeah, but I'm still excited for it. And then
Honestly, he could because Nightwish is not touring or doing anything right now. So
that is true. That is
I mean,
true.
you gotta let Flora heal up.
Well, yeah, she's had another
So
baby
why
too.
not just rejoin For My Pain? What are you doing?
Exactly. And then Vila Hala, like Poison Black has broken up too, but Sentence, I mean, they haven't been a band for a while, so the idea of hearing any of their songs live is, so amazing, because Sentence is one of the best bands ever.
As long as he doesn't do his solo stuff.
Right?
Ugh.
Ugh. But, yeah, and then of course Dan Swano, you touched on, but I feel like the vampire theme of Nightingale fits this evening very well, so.
They're all about vampires.
That's true.
Alright, so my day 3 I've codenamed Dark.
Okay.
So, I think you'll pretty much get the vibe of everything that's going on. Opening band would be Tomorrow, which was my album of the year in 2022. They actually came here, I think, like in November or December.
Okay.
Wish we would have went, but you know how we feel about like going to shows lately and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but you know, stuff happens. But that is a heartbreaking band and a heartbreaking album, which is
Yeah.
kind of the theme of this entire set here. One of these bands is supposed to make cry. Next up, I have Death of Giants, which was my number 4 album of last year.
Yeah.
Which, again, another heartbreaking album about losing the one that loved to cancer.
Yeah,
So, you know, obviously a lot of tears that would come from that.
for sure.
Next up, because we have 6 bands here, we're just about at halfway point. I got Mournful Congregation, the Australian funeral doom band.
Okay.
It's funny, they put out 2 EPs last year, and both EPs are the length of albums at like 45 minutes each, but they call them EPs, so
Yeah.
that's why they didn't make my list, is because they're considered EPs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'd be a nice little choice there. Next up, I got Swallow the Sun. Even though they constantly come here, haven't been able to see them, mainly due to the local booker here, but I don't think he's booking any more shows, so maybe the
Hopefully
next time things will work out in our favor.
Yeah.
I would love to see them. Main support would be Panopticon.
Okay.
Of course, they're local in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well, at least Austin is, and backing band is as well too, and the band's up Sequay, and I know there's some other bands that are part of Opantheon, I think, as well too. But yeah, I mean, it'd be a local show for them, so I don't think it'd be too hard to wrangle them all together.
Yeah.
And finally, closing out the night would be the shirt that I'm wearing right now,
Oh.
My Dying Bride.
Yes.
And most specifically because they have a new album that's coming out this year, so it'd just be a perfect planning for that.
It would.
And yeah, just a really, really dark night of music.
Yeah.
A day and night of music. So.
I like it. My day 3 is The Power. We will start out with some Black Majesty.
Don't cough into the mic, please.
My apologies. I'm sorry. I'm learning. I am not the radio god that you are.
Not yet.
Not yet. My number 1 is Black Majesty, which if you're not familiar with them, they are an amazing power metal band out of Australia. Up next would be Elven King, doing all of Heathen Reel and Winterwake. They are an amazing power metal / spooky / some of their stuff is poppy out of Italy. Then up next I would have Kotipelto Limatainen. So this is Timo Kotipelto of Stradivarius and Kane's Offering, and Jani Limatainen, formerly of Sonata Arctica, also of Kane's Offering, and Insomnium.
There we go.
And of course they both have solo projects as well, but they do acoustic shows around Finland all the time, and I would love them to bring their acoustic show here so I could see them do so many of my favorite songs live, acoustic, those two together. It would just be amazing to hear My Celine live by Yanni. Like, I would just faint. Up next would be Ronnie Atkins doing a little bit of all of his stuff, so some Pretty Made, some Nordic Union. Just seeing him live would be...
His solo material
would be phenomenal. Main support would be Versailles. So this is a power metal band out of Japan. Just amazing stuff.
I've never seen so many women gush over a guy like Versailles.
Versailles is amazing.
Cameo.
Cameo, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then finally, headlining would be Avantasia, doing all of Ghostlight, plus a few songs from other albums as well. But Toby, I absolutely love Toby. I love Avantasia. They have such an amazing crew that they bring in for all their albums, and I love that they have the same crew for all their albums for the most part. I mean, they have some other different ones on each album, but...
And I think it makes those songs stronger live.
It really
rather than
does.
just having to worry about every particular album. If you're going out and playing these songs live, you should write them for the people that are going to sing them live.
Exactly. You want to make sure you can have these people out there with you, and if you're there with different people all the time, that just wouldn't pan out. But yeah, Avantasia is amazing. Avantasia.
Now my day 4, I'm going to show you the code name that I have. But it's basically my combination of what I would like to see from any day of prog power. Like, if I was chosen to have like one day of prog power, and obviously money's no object,
yes,
and I can make everything happen. First up, I would have Power Paladin opening the set.
Yes.
Nerd power metal from Iceland, which is not really the hotbed of power metal in Iceland, but I love the fact that they cover all the topics that I love, and they're just an amazing power metal band. Next up would be Mercenary.
Okay.
Never had the chance to be able to see them, and I'd love to see them one day. I think the band's stronger than ever at this point, and I know everyone else in the world will disagree with me, except for you, but I think they're putting out their best material to date right now.
They are great.
Next up, I would have Twilight Force.
Okay.
Fortunately, they are coming to town.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's with Glory Hammer.
Yeah.
So we won't be going to that.
Yeah.
For reasons, just look up Glory Hammer in the news.
Yeah.
But I love Twilight Force. I know their keyboardist well, and his wife, who happens to be the singer of Temperance as well. That's a metal couple to aspire to be. The keyboardist of Twilight Force and the singer of Temperance.
Yes.
But I would just love to see that live. Next up, I would have Metal Church.
Oh, nice.
They're already working on a new album that's supposed to be coming out this year. So last year's album I did enjoy, but I don't think it was like a full-fledged Metal Church album.
Well, it didn't have like the sappy, like,
yeah, it didn't have the ballads. Well, they don't really have sappy ballads.
Not sappy, but ballads.
Yeah. I mean, In Harm's Way is not a sappy ballad.
No.
It's about child abuse. And...
Right. You know what I mean.
Right. But yeah, I would just love to see Metal Church in some way, shape, or form. I want to hear the old stuff, the new stuff, and the stuff in between. Main support, Arion.
Nice.
They could do anything they want to. I just want to see them live.
Yeah.
And I know that would take a lot of guests to be a part of that.
Oh, yeah.
Because every single album has basically different guests of people behind it, although some people do come back. I would still love to see that in some way, shape, or form.
And getting Arjun here.
It'd be great to get Arjun here. Look, for anyone listening, when I interviewed him twice, both times he said, "Hi, this is Arjun."
Yes. That is how he pronounces his name, so that's how we should pronounce it.
Yes. Who am I to tell him it's Aryan? It's Arjun.
No, Arjun, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're pronouncing it wrong.
I mean, granted, people from Europe call me Yash as well.
Right. Oh, sure.
And I'm not going to correct him.
No.
So I guess it kind of goes both ways, but
yes.
If he says Arjun to me, I'm saying Arjun to him.
Exactly.
And finally, just like you talked about in your day 3, the headliner will be Avantasia.
Yes.
Doing Ghost Lights.
Yes.
And other fan favorites.
Yes.
I also wanted to have Master Plan with Yorn back, but I kind of figured that'd be 7, and there wasn't really a band I wanted to take off of there.
Yeah.
But Yorn would be a part of Avantasia, and I would just be happy to see him and Toby doing Lucifer.
Yeah. I was contemplating doing something with Yorn because I'd love to see Yorn Yolande, Alan Lande, some of their stuff live, and also Dracula. Oh.
I don't know if he's going to be doing any Dracula
stuff.
I know,
but I would love that. I would love that.
But yes, that is what I would love to see for one day of Prog Power, even though I know how completely unrealistic that is. I would love to see that.
I like it, though. I like it. And my final day is some melodic darkness. We will be starting out with Tyrfing. Not familiar with them. They're kind of a mix of death, folk, kind of everything.
Viking metal.
Viking, yeah, but some melodic too.
I should point it out too, when I say Viking metal, I don't mean a monomarth.
No.
Which, a monomarth is power metal with death growls.
Yes.
Let's just throw that out there. Like, there's bands like Unleashed, and Enslaved, and Tyrfing, and so many other great bands that don't sound like a monomarth.
No, not at all.
And are considered Viking. But Tyrfing's a great example of that.
So they would start the show, then we go on to Bellacore. I will say majority of my music for this night, it's a mix of like death metal and melodic metal and kind of a few other things mixed in, but
I don't think that you have any death metal on your list. I think
straight up death metal? No, not straight up death metal.
I can't imagine you putting DSI.
Heavens no. There's melodic elements.
So it'd be like melodeath bands.
Yes. Then up next would be Sudakra, who I just love. They're so good. Then up next would be Brimmer, who I know you're a big fan of as well.
Oh, yes. With every passing month, that album reaches higher in my top of 22.
It is so good. But,
like, if I was to redo that list, it would probably be in the top 5, if not higher now.
Yeah, but all of their work is so good, I will say.
It's just, if you need an album to check out first, go with Voices in the Sky and go backwards.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I can see that. And then in main support will be Palma, who...
Well, I know what your headliner is then.
Who put out an amazing album last year as well. Again, just that mellow death out of Finland.
And I completely missed the boat on their last album.
You did.
Because I did not get the promo, and I completely forgot about it. Even though you reminded me many a times.
Many a time.
it fell out. It just happens.
Yes. And then finally headlining...
Let's say it together.
My favorite band of all time. Melodic death metal out of Finland again. Eternal Tears of Sorrow.
Who were going to play Prog Power a couple years ago, and then they canceled even before the COVID stuff happened.
Yeah.
So they're not coming back. Or they're not coming here to begin with.
I just want them to put out new music. It has been since 10 years, over 10 years now. I think 2013, I think it was the last album.
It was the year we got together.
Yeah, like I want new music from them. I want to see them live. They're so amazing. But yes, that is my final day.
So yeah, that is our combined days. We had some bands that were similar, some that weren't. But what do you think? Is there a better package that you'd see between the two of us? What are the bands that you would like to see? Is it just the bands like if you go to Rockville, USA, or Rockfest, or any of those American-style festivals? Is that what you want to see? Maryland Death Fest, or Prog Power, or the one that happens in Houston that I'm completely forgetting the name of.
Yeah.
Carrie, if you're listening to this, and you're actually listening to this, tell me what the name of the festival is. That way I know you're listening. Yeah, any of this stuff, just let me know in the comments down below.
So, wrapping up the show, like, let's just talk about what we've been either playing or watching, enjoying, and anything we're looking forward to.
Yeah, what have we been doing?
So, on my end, as far as gaming-wise, I've just been playing some of my dating apps. But I've been playing Chapters quite a bit lately. If you don't know, it's different stories you can pick and kind of pick your own adventure type things. My only complaint with that is that it's so reliant on microtransactions. Yep. So it's a pain, but there's some good stories on there though. I've also been playing Romance Club, which is pretty fun. That one, even though it's microtransactions, they're a really amazing company to their fans. Like almost once a week, they'll either have like a day or a couple days where like all choices are free, or you can play as much as you want to. You don't have to wait for like your, chapter passes to refresh or anything like that. So they give you a lot of free stuff in there, so that's really nice.
Are you falling for the microtransactions in that?
No, I haven't bought anything for microtransactions. I've done like free things, like sometimes you can play other games or watch an ad to get some free stuff. I do that, but outside of that, haven't fallen prey to them.
Not yet.
I did start playing Couple Up a little bit. I haven't finished the third chapter or the third series of that, so I'm gonna see how that goes when I play more of that later. I did wrap up Love Island though. It was just as lackluster as I thought it was gonna be, and apparently they have a new one coming out in February.
And you're gonna fall for that one too, aren't you?
Well, the community is not for them right now, because I think I said in one of the previous episodes there was 2 different apps for Love Island. One that had the first 3 seasons of it, and then the newest one that has the seasons 4 and forward on it. And they got rid of the first 3 seasons because they got rid of the first app, and those are the best seasons of the game. So everybody's disappointed they can't play that anymore, and everybody's kind of revolting against them right now.
I don't think that makes a lick of a difference, because it only takes a couple people who will spend all the money on microtransactions for them to be profitable. Yeah. They're known as whales.
That is true.
Which is the predatory thing that I'm most against.
Yeah. But I will say that the only other game I've really been playing a lot is a game called Whiteout Survival. It basically, you build like this little village, and you have to like click on things a lot to like build your army up and stuff like that. And it's kind of just a time killer, but it's fun. How about you?
Well, I just want to say to the Metal Faerie, I don't want her to worry. She will find her true love one day. All these dating apps. He is out there, and he is waiting for you one day. As for me, several weeks back, I bought Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yes.
And, of course, I did not play that, so I could play a different Survivor game, Vampire Survivors. And I was playing some Xbox stuff instead of playing that. So I finally was able to go back and play Jedi Survivor, and it's a very fun game.
Yes.
Basically, for anyone not know, it's basically like the Soulsborne games, like Dark Souls, Bloodborne. Elden Ring is the big one because George R. Martin wrote it, along with the team who developed the game. It's basically that, but it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it has a difficulty setting, so it's not just extremely hard as possible. It's a story mode where you can basically get rid of all your enemies in just a couple hits.
Yeah.
If need be. I like to keep everything at medium, so, it's enough of a challenge. It's what the game was supposed to be at anyways, and I just like keeping it at that. It was very fun. Ended on a big old downer / cliffhanger, basically setting things up for the third game. So the second game is basically like Empire.
Yeah.
So the third game, I imagine, will be like Jedi. So
nice.
We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But I also went back in time, and before you left on your excursion,
yes,
I finally picked up the remaster of Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
Now, this is one of the best games ever made. One of the best open world games ever made. If you're just not familiar with video games or anything like this, it's made by Rockstar Games, who makes the Grand Theft Auto series. Red Dead Redemption is basically Grand Theft Horse. Yeah, it takes place in the late 1800s, early 1900s, depending on the story. It's basically right around the Industrial Revolution, and motor cars start coming into America, and the death of the cowboy begins.
Yes.
And that's basically where the story takes off in the first one. Of course, there's Red Dead 2, which is actually a prequel, but it lines everything up perfectly. You got to see a little bit of it.
Yes.
What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see a ton of it, but I saw a little bit before I left. I thought it looks really fun. I'm probably going to get it on Switch.
What?
I know, right? I will say, in the maybe couple hours I watched him play on Friday before I left, he brought it up no short of maybe 10 times that I should buy it on Switch.
Yeah! But there's so many games that tell you to get on the Switch, and you just won't do it.
Well, but not every game's for me.
You talked about how much you wanted the Batman Arkham trilogy.
Yes, but I thought we could buy them separately.
Well, it still went on sale, and it was $40, and you basically would have been able to get them separately, but it just would have been the third game would have been included.
And I do want to get that when it's on sale at some point, but initially when it came out, it was way too much for what it was, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, considering you can get all the games for $5
exactly
on PlayStation, but it's the first time on the Switch. Switch.
That is true. But
Just like Red Dead, it's the first time.
Yes.
That's on
I do
the
plan on
Switch.
getting both of them on Switch.
Okay. I wish Red Dead 2 was on there too. I think you would
Yeah.
have just as much fun with that.
That would
but
be nice.
you know, if we ever get a little handheld thing for you that's not a Switch, you know, like a Steam Deck or one of the other clones that come out, you can get the PlayStation app or Steam
Or
on
if
there.
the Switch 2 Switcheroo comes out, maybe that'll have
And
it.
you can play it on there, and you know, you could possibly enjoy like Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead 2 and all these other games that you haven't been able to play before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun going back through Red Dead, and probably after this, unless Yakuza Infinite Wealth, which comes out the last week of January,
Yes.
unless that time comes, I might just jump right into Red Dead 2
Yeah.
because I feel like a cowboy right now. So.
All right. Or you can play the zombie version first? Or...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, the remaster of Red Dead Redemption also comes with Undead Nightmare, which is a sequel to everything where it's Red Dead, but zombies. I mean, you might have been able to get that from the title Undead Nightmare, but yeah.
Are the horses zombies?
I'm not going to give anything away until you see it.
Okay.
Although, I also have the game on 360, so if we hook that up to your little TV,
That's
you
true.
could play Undead Nightmare on your little screen back there.
Yeah, I could.
I'm just we're not gonna, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, so that's it for gaming. For TV, I mean, it's just the usual stuff that we've been checking out. Simpsons, Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
Tonight, as we're recording this, there will be new Bob's Burgers and The Great North.
Oh, okay.
No new Simpsons, some
Yeah.
new shows premiering tonight. I forget what it is. And then, of course, in February, we will be dealing with the death of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which it's going to be funny, but it's also going to be rough knowing that that's going to be the last 10 episodes.
It is.
But I think Larry David's earned his retirement from it,
He
and
has.
that he can take his billions of dollars and just relax now.
Yes.
Movies, I don't even think there's anything coming up on the horizon, is there?
I know in theaters right now there's that one horror movie about in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know that I'm necessarily wanting to go see it in theater. I'll probably just wait a month. It'll come out on some kind of streaming
And
device.
speaking of horror, next month will be the sequel to Blood and Honey,
Oh, yes.
where Tigger and other ones are involved, and
Heffalump.
and of course they cannibalize Eeyore in the first one. So
Well, and now the Mickey is on public domain.
they're already working on a movie.
I heard Rob Zombie's working on.
Do you know how many different incarnations there's going to be of this? Everyone's going to do it.
Everyone.
It's the new Dracula.
It is.
It's the new Frankenstein. And speaking of that, it might be this year, the new Nosferatu
Yes,
with
yep.
Bill Skarsgård.
That is supposed to come out this year.
What do you think of that?
I'm.
With the Clint Howard of the
Right.
Skarsgård family.
That's true. I mean, I'm reserving judgment till I see it. I love Nosferatu, so we'll see what they do with it.
Do you think that... I can't imagine they're making it a silent film.
I can't imagine, no.
And I think that takes the mystique out of it.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm very curious.
And of course, there's other weird horror movies that are going to be coming out.
Oh yeah.
Robin Williams' daughter, Zelda Williams, has her movie Lisa Frankenstein that's going to be coming out in several months. Yeah, that's Robin Williams' daughter directing that.
Oh,
Do you get the pun?
I get it.
And of course, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's coming
Yes,
out. For superhero stuff, it's just Deadpool 3 that's coming out.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there's any DC movies that are coming out this year. No other Marvels. There's Marvel TV stuff that's coming out. Echo's coming out soon, which I have absolutely no interest in.
Yeah.
Although I did learn that Vincent D'Onofrio is coming back as Kingpin.
Oh, he hasn't had enough for you?
He hasn't had enough Rio of the character that he played in the Netflix universe, and he's bringing it to the Disney universe now as Kingpin.
Yeah.
So maybe, but Echo is just like a really side character in the Spider-Man universe. It's so convoluted how they're doing things nowadays. That's a rant I could do for another show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can think of for movies. Anything else we're looking forward to?
Oh gosh, not that I can think of.
Anything for the show next week?
I mean,
have
I
we
know-
decided on anything?
We have a list of topics that we want to be covering in the next weeks and months, but I need to get those scheduled out. So we'll be finding out next week. It'll be a surprise for everyone.
All right. Although one thing to look forward to once
Yes.
again is the Metal Fairy checking out the perfect elements and
Yes.
potentially in the the passing of light of day.
Yes.
But with all of that said, I think this is a good note to end on, and thank you so very much for tuning in and checking out episode 26 of the Heavy Debriefings podcast. I'm not going to talk about all the stuff that I normally do at the end of this because we've already covered it in the outro.
Bye.
Well, I just want to say thanks again. I hope you tune in next week for Pain of Salvation, talking about and all the other shenanigans that might happen. So until next week, for the Metal Faerie, this is Josh Runquist saying, see ya.
This has been the Heavy Debriefings podcast. Thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to follow Heavy Debriefings on all your favorite social media sites: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. And of course, heavydebriefings.weebly.com for all of your Heavy Debriefings needs.
Also check out the Metal Faerie at facebook.com at the Metal Faerie.
Until next time.